Okay, so this movie is called Jaws because they thought it sounded scary, but they should have called it Fish because that's what this whole film seems to be about. But I'm not talking about one of those small little fishes you have on your plate for your dinner. I'm talking about the biggest fuck off fish you've ever seen in your life. And boy is it angry. Anyway, this movie tries to start off in like 3 different ways and it fails at every fucking one of them. First of all, it wants to start off underwater, but then it's like, nah, this is shit. So then it cuts over to these teenagers getting drunk on a beach, which is what all teenagers should be doing, instead of sat round in their bedrooms like they are today, trying to hold their breath so they don't add to global fucking warming. Anyway, there's this one kid there, and he's giving this one girl the right creepy eyes, and she's like, nah thanks mate, and so she just runs the fuck off. But this creepy kid is like some kind of fucking psycho stalker or something, and he chases her down into the night, and she just goes running off into the sea, and then she fucking drowns, and this movie's like, now that was a fucking shit start as well. So then we cut over to this cop bloke, and he's a knobhead. Not only is he a real fishophobe, but this fucking cop dude is scared of water. So what has he gone and done? That's right, you guessed it. He's gonna move to a tiny fucking island where he's completely surrounded by the sea, like a total fucking idiot. And he's real jittery about it, all of the time. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna be, mate, because you're scared of the sea and you moved on to a tiny fucking island. And all of this shit is just going on in your head. So who's the fucking problem here, you know? Is it the world's oceans? Or is it this guy with a fucking attitude? Anyway, they all go down to the beach and they're like, yeah, it stinks by the sea, doesn't it? And they find this chick's body and they're like, it looks like she drowned. But this cop guy starts to figure she was killed by a fucking fish. And the rest of them are like, yeah? How'd you figure? And he's like, trust me, I got a feeling. And they're all like, fuck off, mate. But this cop guy goes out of his way to make a prick of himself, buying a bunch of signs to put out by the sea that say, danger, fish. Like everyone in the world don't know there's fish in the fucking sea. So anyway, the rest of the people have got to have a little talk with him. You know, like, calm it the fuck down, would you? You're supposed to be a fucking cop. And there's this guy there, the mayor of the town, and unlike the unhinged police guy, he's actually forward thinking and a very practically minded guy. And he's like, yeah, a few people might get eaten, but he's thinking of all the hundreds and thousands of people in the town who will lose their jobs, lose their livelihoods, if everyone goes and gets freaked out by a big fish eating people. So, like a great mayor, he makes the decision that a handful of chomped up teenagers is worth the price to stop the destruction of all of the businesses and everyone's life in the town. But this movie goes and makes it look like it's him who's the fucking bad guy. Like he don't care how many children get chomped up just so long as he gets his kickbacks in cash. Like there's anything wrong with that. Anyway, that cop guy is sat on the beach with his wife and he suddenly thinks to himself, oh shit, I forgot to clear my porn history off the computer. And then this kid gets eaten by a fucking fish. I mean, there ain't no question that this kid drowned. I mean, he might have drowned, but that's only because the fish had eaten his fucking legs off. And everyone else is like, fuck, there's fish in the sea. And the cop guy is like, yeah, I told you, and everything. And then we meet this fisherman bloke. And I'll be damned if he's not the best character in any movie ever. I mean, this man talks just straight sense all of the fucking time. And he's got some wonderfully bigoted folk songs he likes to sing through the whole fucking movie. Like singing out loud to yourself ain't the most easy way to fucking annoy the people around you ever. But he don't give a fuck. He's like, listen to my tunes, you dumb bunch of cunts. And so him and the cop guy decide to go and fuck up that fish. And this cop guy, he's a real sharkophobe and all that. Going in for the typical stereotype remarks of, they're all just bloodthirsty man-eating monsters and stuff. You know, real outdated attitudes towards these friendly, murderous fish. And yeah, this fish does eat a few people and stuff. But this fucking movie goes out of its way to make it look like it's the worst fucking thing to ever happen. You know, like people ain't ever been eaten by fish before. I mean, a whale ate some bloke in the Bible for fuck's sake. Anyway, the birds are flying and the movie don't say nothing. And the dogs are barking and the movie don't say nothing. But when a giant monstrous fish starts eating fucking people, then this movie suddenly decides it's time to start criticising nature and shit. Anyway, then this other guy shows up and he's just a prick. And I don't know why. You know, sometimes you see someone and you think, they're a fucking prick. Well, he's one of those guys. And he's got the dumbest fucking beard I've ever seen or some bullshit. And one of them faces you could just hit with a mallet for an hour and not get bored. Anyway, now these three blokes figure they're going to go out and fuck up this fish. But what they don't realise is, they're all a bunch of knobheads. And while they're dicking around, taking 4 fucking ever to get going, that fucking fish shows up again and only goes and eats someone else. So now these 3 guys look real fucking stupid, you know? And they gotta do something. So they load up onto this boat that looks like it's fucking sunk before they've even set foot on it. And they all fuck off out to sea like a bunch of stupid bastards. And before they do, let me ask you this. Would you trust that to be your fucking doctor? Anyway, these 3 blokes go out to sea, trying to get their own back on this fish. But that one fucking guy, he's just a dude. And so he tries to turn it all into like a fishing trip. You know, casting a few lines out and cracking a few beers, having a good time with it. But that cop bloke, the fishophobe, well, he ain't right in the fucking head at all. And he keeps on about how they gotta kill that big fish and everything. And then, like a fucking psycho, he goes and cuts up all the little fish the other bloke caught and starts throwing them back into the sea to like try to piss that big fish off or something. And boy, does it fucking work. I mean, this fucking fish is the angriest fucking fish I've ever seen in my life. So, it turns up and starts trying to fuck these 3 blokes up or something. And at this point in the movie, you're like, kind of on the side of the fish, you know? Anyway, the fish attacks them and they shoot barrels at it, which is fucking weird. And the fish fucks off. And then they all go get pissed up, playing rock, paper, scissors or some shit, having a right good laugh, when this one bloke goes and tells a story about how he butchered hundreds of sailors, and everyone just goes real quiet and is like, what the fuck was that? But then that fucking fish shows up again, and then it fucks off again, and you're like, alright, I see where this is going. And then it cuts to the next day, and the fucking fish shows up again. And at this point, you're like, really? You've gone and made a whole fucking film about a fish? And the film is like, yeah. And they chase the fish down, and they shoot it and shit, and they try to fuck it up, but they can't do nothing. So then, like, they all of a sudden turn tail and begin to run away and shit. And the fish is like, nah mate, you ain't getting away with that. So it just eats the fucking back of the boat off, and then it eats the one cool dude in the movie, and then that cop guy shoots it, and the fucking fish blows up. And you're like, what the fucking hell did I just see? Of all the shitty fucking movies I've ever watched, this has got to be by far the fucking shittiest. The whole fucking film is a total non-story. Some fucking fish eats some people. So what? It's not even a story. It's just some people getting eaten by a fish. and then some bloke shoots it, and it blows up, and you're like, fuck off. Fish don't just blow up, not even when you shoot them, they just go splat. So, I don't even know what the fuck to say about this film. I know everyone says it's supposed to be a fucking masterpiece, but I think it's just another stupid fucking movie.